Also, do you know, while watching Odysseus, I was quite interested in all the Greek characters which were shown. So I researched about them and I watched a couple of movies. If you are genuinely interested in the character of Odyssey, the poem, the Trojan War, Helen of Troy, all of these things were discussed by me and my friends. They have watched it, they had read about it. But I was the one who was not aware of these characters and was not having that much of knowledge about it. So if you plan to know more about these characters, we can discuss it more. We can discuss it more in the comment section, and you can watch a couple of movies which I would like to say it here. One of them is Troy Fall of a City, and the another one is a movie which is by Brad Pitt. But honestly, after watching Odyssey in a cinema hall, I was generally not finding it likable. However, the story was interesting, and all of these stories have different versions associated. Hey everyone, today we are talking about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Ever since the trailer dropped, expectations were sky high. After Oppenheimer, people wanted to know, could Nolan deliver another masterpiece? After watching it, I definitely have some thoughts. Without revealing major spoilers, the film follows Odysseus as he struggles to return home after the Trojan War. Along the way, he faces mythical dangers, impossible choices, and emotional consequences of years spent away from his family. Nolan keeps the core of Homer's epic while reshaping parts of the story for cinema. What worked? I think the biggest strength is scale. Everything feels real. The practical effects, the IMAX cinematography, the locations, nothing feels artificial. You genuinely feel like you are traveling with Odysseus. Matt Damon completely owns this role. He doesn't try to play a superhero. He plays a tired warrior who is carrying years of guilt. The supporting cast also gets memorable moments without overshadowing the main story. This is where Nolan reminds everyone why he is one of the best directors working today. Even the mythological sequences feel believable because he grounds them emotionally. He is less interested in fantasy and more interested in the trauma, survival, and what home really means. What didn't work? The pacing may not work for everyone. If you are expecting non-stop action like Gladiator, this is much slower. Some viewers may also miss certain mythological elements that Nolan trimmed or changed. For me, this isn't just another mythology adaptation. It is a film about humanity, about relationships, a soldier returning to his home, about the visual effects, about the queen who is trying to find a way to her husband, about the stories which people have heard since childhood. And at the last, being an Indian viewer, it was great for me to know about the Greek mythology. Also, as you all know, I read a lot about anything which is interesting, and after watching this movie, I read about the characters, about the ending which Nolan has changed. So, in the ending, we see that this is a spoiler, by the way. In the ending, we see that Odyssey finally heads to the West Sun with his wife, and he finds a place over there. But after reading it, I got to know that there is a different version of the ending associated to it. That Odyssey actually dies because his own son accidentally stabbed him with a spear which had a poison onto that spear. So when again a spoiler is incoming. So while saving his men, he meets a witch on an island, and it is said that the son is with Odyssey and that witch, and that's how Odyssey dies. And as an Indian viewer and as an Indian content watcher, that is not a bad. As an Indian viewer and as an Indian, when we grow up, we hear so many stories about our mythology, about our culture, and everything. So watching this was, quite a breath of fresh air. That at last we all worship the same nature, the same gods, and ultimately I would like to say that yes, indeed, I feel globe is a village, the world is a village. I think that's a statement. Okay, see you again in the next video. Bye bye.